Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to today's episode. We're calling this one Heartfelt Conversations, and Yara kind of helped me come up with that. Welcome, Yara. See, I just
Thank
asked her
you.
hello, 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 hello,
Oh,
hello.
hello. If you remember that
Joining us.
Seinfeld episode with the belly button.
Oh,
Hello.
hello. So Yara and I met in a networking group that we're involved in. We'll give them a plug. We meet Wednesdays. It's on Facebook. And if you want to join the group, you can contact one of us and we'll send you the link to join. It's just been a great group. And every once in a while, I have an interesting, heartfelt conversation with somebody that I feel connected to. And I had that with Yara on Sunday. And so I thought I'd invite her on to have a conversation. You've been in business, Yara, for five
5 years.
years. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. And can you share a little bit about your journey and what led you into Yara is into spiritual coaching and what that
hmm
means? Because I know we discussed that a
Yeah,
little bit.
absolutely. So it all was birthed during the pandemic where I really just wanted to be of service and to help people during the chaotic time that it was. And finding different ways where I could do that. So reached out on Facebook, started with a few friends, some family members, and putting up different, spiritual modalities like come check in with me, let's be present together. We would do like self-care weeks, and it was a very interesting time for me personally because I felt so solid and so safe within my own body, within my own existence, while everything was happening on the outside, right? Um, so I had my own business journey in becoming a spiritual coach, and it wasn't very clear cut. It was doubting myself. It was, what are people going to think of me if I start talking woo-woo, if I start talking about God, universe, spirit, all these things? What is my family going to say? So it's really has been a long journey to come to a full circle of self-acceptance in that this is the work that I am most impactful with, that resonates the most with me, and in turn creates the most transformation for those that I work with.
Nice. I love that wrap up. That's really good. Yara was saying, I can't believe it's taken me 5 years to get where I'm at, something like that. And I just busted out laughing. And that was in the beginning of our conversation,
Yep.
because I have been in business for 25 years and I've been frantically redoing my website to get my messaging really clear with my vision mapping workshops. And so I had to laugh. And I think part of being an entrepreneur is accepting that it's like it journeys insight is my business, right? It's a journey.
Mhm.
And I think we often forget that. I know I do, that I forget I'm not at the destination yet.
Yeah.
Like
And
I don't right.
who knows what that final destination looks like, right? It's all going to be the journey along the way.
Right. So was that the turning point during the pandemic for you that you felt like there was something more for you than your 9 to 5?
Yeah, absolutely. So my 9 to 5 came to a halt. We had, different, I'm a communications manager in the public service. So I was also on mat leave. I had my baby December 2019, my third child.
Oh,
So a few months
congratulations.
after, thank you. So a few months after that, everything had shut down. So while I was on mat leave, I was thinking like, I have the time. I'm not in my 9 to 5 right now. Why not try to explore and come out of my comfort zone? And in that turning point, I realized how kind of that American dream of, a corporate job, climbing the ladders, having a family, that white picket fence is not everybody's cup of tea. And
Mm,
then I began to realize that I don't want to be in this world to live in one location. I don't want to be in a job for 20 years. Even though I was fulfilled, I wasn't the kind of person that was like hating my job or anything like that, but I realized there's so much out there to explore, and that would come with the journey of entrepreneurship. The more that I can gain insight and value in my own life, the more that I can spread that and share that with others. The other thing I realized is all of the ceilings that exist within corporate or 9 to 5, whereas entrepreneurship doesn't really have limits. And I think that was the balancing act that I was trying to get to of, okay, this is my goal, I'd reach it, but then all of a sudden you're like there isn't a ceiling to hold you down. So you're just constantly trying to float and make this vision bigger and more grand, and that comes with changing a website, changing your messaging, your ideal clients might change, the way that you show up might change. So it's not just about, oh, I am delivering a service. It's that I have now become trying to become social media expert, becoming more visible, trying to do marketing. I'm like, what are all these things? So that in and of itself is such a huge learning experience. But it has so much value because you get to meet amazing women like yourself, and you get to learn from each other, and you get to explore together. And that's really where I feel like I flourished, when I started listening to others' experiences and just understanding how to handle that journey better.
Nice. And so, what role has faith or intuition played in guiding your journey forward?
Yeah. I heard something interesting, that not all good advice is your advice that you should take. So I realized that while I was starting my journey, it was a lot about taking in information, learning as much as possible, gathering knowledge. Um, and I worked with a few business experts, and they would give me their advice and their strategy, and that's exactly what worked for them. So it should work for me. They have results for they've created results for others. So if you do it ABC, you should get results XYZ. I found that to be such a struggle because not every piece of advice was meshing with the way that I work, with the way um that I want to present myself, with the way that I want to connect with people. That's not to say that's bad, useless advice. It's just to say that it's not advice for me. So what I had to do was practice discernment and practice using my intuition. And with that came, how does this feel within my body? How does this feel for me? Am I aligned with this? Is there fear behind using this type of strategy? And then once I kind of delved into that a little bit more, I would clear away some of the limiting beliefs that I would have. But then once I would clear that, I would still feel like I'm floating a little bit, like I didn't have an anchor. And there's this concept in spirituality of letting go and non-attachment, not being attached to a result, not being attached to materialism and things like that. The thing that I had trouble with is, well, what am I holding on to? Because we live in a 3D existence, right? We live in the physical world. So that is where God played a role for me, where I was able to simply release and anchor myself into my faith and say that I know this is my calling. I know this is my path. I've taken the action that I need, and the rest is up to the higher power to take care of the rest and align things. It's not about sitting and waiting for the manifestation to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So it's about taking actions, letting go, taking actions, letting go. So when you're in those times, those moments of doubt and despair, and you're stuck, you feel stuck,
Mhm.
what what do you do? What do you do when you do that exercise and you're still stuck? Is there is there anything else that you do that gets
Mhm.
you unstuck?
I've started changing my relationship with the way that I relate to the word stuck or blocks, because it is
Oh.
something that kind of goes around a lot in not just the spiritual industry, in many different industries, because people feel like
Hmm.
they're at a standstill. But if I believe that everything is energy and energy is constantly in motion, then nothing within me or outside of me is stuck. It is simply moving at a faster pace that I can capture. So I'm trying to hold on. It's like trying to hold on to water, but it's slipping through your fingers, right? So I think of that feeling of being stuck as intense movement. So I
Oh,
try to channel that in artistic ways. I sit down and I say, whatever is moving through me is going to flow. And I just either, whether it's about writing a post or just writing poetry, or sometimes I'll just be like, I need to move my body. I'll dance around with my kids, or I'll do something to just get all of that energy outside of my body and let it become free. And then the way that I like to think about it is that once I release this energy, something will come back to me in return. And it's really about building that trust and playfulness with your connection to the universe, to God, to a higher power of I have let it all out. I became vulnerable with myself, and I am open to receiving whatever you have for me in return. And through that, it's really a way to keep me balanced. It's not a way of like having expectations. Like I've released time to receive,
right,
right?
right, right. Wow, those are amazing nuggets. So, what I heard was that when you have the fear, the stuck modality, you step into it with, you practice stepping into it, right? It's all a
Mhm.
practice with a
Exactly.
playful heart.
Mhm.
That's
Exactly.
beautiful. That's beautiful. Do you have people in your life to remind you to be playful?
I have three small children, so they are they're 8, 6, and 5. They're all very close in age,
Oh,
and they keep us going. And something that I have taught my kids, and in turn they are teaching me again, is when I feel frustration, and I'm very open with my kids, and I'll express, I'll be like, you know what, I'm feeling a little bit frustrated. Do you guys have any ideas for me? And I'll tell them, like, I'm trying to figure this thing out. And I'll explain it to them in ways that they can understand. I don't have them writing like any business strategies or anything like that. But I'll tell them, like, I'm feeling like there's something in my belly and it just feels like anxiety. And my kids go, did you dance today? Do you need
oh
to
my,
dance? Do you want to put on Spotify so we can sing? I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe that'll help.
I love that. So you've trained them to
I
train
taught
you.
them, but it's so easy that we forget. It's almost like, oh wow, okay,
Oh,
I have this comparison, but I know you have a dog, and training a dog is very much about training the person to communicate with the dog.
totally. And I know it's funny. We seem to go there though. People that know, we don't have kids. We have the dog,
Mhm.
and not to compare a human life to a dog. And yet, like she picks up her toys, and we do sing and dance too. And
Mhm.
she's feeling a little better, and we're not carrying her around anymore. And so this morning she grabbed her. She wanted to play, which she can't with the surgery she's had. But yeah, it's that reminder to me, like, oh, how serious am I being this morning? How rigid am I
Yeah.
being? And to stop and play for a minute, like, oh, yeah,
Mhm.
it's time to play.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
between 3 kids and 2 dogs, there are many similarities.
Wow, that's a full house. That's a full
Absolutely.
house. So, Yara, if you could fast forward 12 months from now,
Mhm.
what do you envision to have created in your business, in your life?
Mhm. The word that comes to me is community. I
Mm,
think one of the things that I had a struggle with as somebody who is from one heritage, born in a different country, living in a different country. So my background is Lebanese. I was born in Saudi Arabia and I immigrated to Canada. I never really had a home base to be like, this physical location is my home where I feel most related to. So even as a young child, I had to create those safe spaces within myself to feel like I am understood. At least I understand me. But now, knowing how I was able to do that for myself, I want to create a virtual space for others who might feel the same way in their spirituality, in their beliefs, in their systems, that they are able to share and learn from each other. And I think that is the top of mind level of service that I want to be in this world is to gather people, like-minded or not. I think sometimes we can learn from each other even if we're not like-minded. I think that's where the most growth happens. But to have people that will listen, understand, and have heart-to-heart talks instead of trying to understand each other from the mind or the brain is a lot more meaningful than, business exchanges or, one-way exchanges of sorts.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love that. And where can people connect with you and learn more about your coaching? And we're recording this, it's on Journeys Insight YouTube. So there'll be show notes with your links as well. For those that are watching it somewhere else, where can people find you?
Absolutely. I mainly am on Instagram at underscore Yara Hello. Or you can find me on Facebook as well. All my links are also available via Instagram, so you can find me there too.
Wonderful. And one last thing, if you could give someone advice who's terrified to leave their 9 to 5, they're
Mm.
terrified of balancing it all, what would that advice be to them?
Mm. You lead first and the universe follows. So whatever you're putting out there into the world, you have to take that step first and then things will start unfolding for you. And there's many examples
Okay.
in everybody's life where you had to take action in fear, even if it's at a small scale, where you have seen results guaranteed. That could be in anything from when you were a young child to your adult life. You've done something while you were scared. And the universe responded. So that's the level of faith that you need to have in yourself because that's where you create the most impact.
Wonderful. I hope that if you don't have your messaging clear, Yara, like your website and all that, that you re-listen to this because you dropped so many nuggets and taglines, and I was
I
like,
think I
oh,
have to.
right. I was like, oh, that's good. Oh, I want that's good. So very good, really good. You're
Thank
very
you.
comfortable in your own skin, and I hope people reach out to you and work with you, Yara. You're a delight.
Thank you so much, Tracy. I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed, and I'm glad that we got to connect.
Me too. Me too, Yara. Thank you. And everybody, please connect with Yara and remember to click the subscribe button, comment, share with your friends. And if you would like to download your free vision mapping starter kit to get you going, again, it's not about sitting around waiting for your visions to happen. So this is about how to take actions. Thank you for joining in today. Until next time. Mwah.